Hello. Welcome to another Hotel Room Yap with Michaela. I am tucked into a corner of a room at the Fairmont Hotel in Dallas, Texas. In Dallas, Texas. I'm a little loopy. It's been a day. I feel like my brain cells definitely start to, just fall out of my brain at the end of some convention days. I don't know what it is. Some days are worse than others. And this day, they're definitely very floopy. We're very floopy. I might seem like I'm a little drunk. It's funny, when I get tired, I'm just drunk. I don't need a drink. I just need a lack of sleep. Anyway, all I had for dinner tonight was enchiladas. I just finished them. Why was that so difficult for me to... Anyway, I've been a little in my feels today, yesterday. I don't know, just kind of lonely, feeling weird. And also missing the person that, I was dating for a little bit last year, kind of into this year. And then I don't know, not the most recent, example, but do you guys ever just think about the previous people you've dated and then had just such a mix of emotions of I don't know. I don't want to say shame because that sounds so heavy, but kind of just ugh. Why did I date that person? Or disappointment a little in yourself of why did I date that person? Or why did I date that person? Confusion, a little bit of shock, a little bit of ugh, that's such a different, I would never make the same decision now kind of thing. I don't know. I guess your previous self should be a little cringy to you. I guess that means you've learned. But I also feel there are some people who aren't as cringy or don't have as many cringy moments. I don't know. There are just some interesting choices. Some of them were very much made in earnest, thinking I was doing the right thing or making a good decision. Some of them I was for the plot or something, and that was the questionable decision. But yeah, I just I don't know, and I'm glad that I don't wish for any of them to be happening right now. That's not that's not what happens whenever I'm feeling a little in my feels. And anyway, I'm not reflecting on these being man, I wish this person or this one had worked out or something. That's not really what happens. It's kind of wondering how it happened and what I saw in it. Okay, this is the thing. Okay, let me get more comfortable here. Hold on, let's see. Yeah, that'll work. What, how I saw so much in all of these people. I truly, I thought, I still think well of these people, but I thought so highly of, I'm trying to think of someone I didn't think highly of. There's a couple really, really bad ones that probably not gonna ever talk about because I'm not interested in their energy existing in my life anymore. But for the most part, most of the guys that I've dated, some of whom have been public, we've posted together online a lot. I believe in them so much, aggressively, so positively. I believe they are so talented, so capable, so able to just do whatever they dream of doing, and I want to support them in doing that. And then I think, okay, was I crazy for seeing that? Did I just completely make all of that up and project that onto them? Or was some of that real, but they just weren't interested in having me be the cheerleader for them? Or was it real and they just weren't able to actually grow accordingly and then fulfill that and step into it? I'm sure there are lots of other options, but my brain just briefly I don't know, kind of touches on each thing, because I don't know if it was because I was raised 90s, early 2000s with watching a lot of Disney movies and the prince gets the princess, and so there's just this kind of focus on romance, or if it's because I'm from the Midwest and a lot of it's just family based and just, I guess, in kind of a religious upbringing, getting married and having a family is so pushed, and also like waiting till marriage and like waiting for your husband and then having kids, like if that's pushed so hard that it's just like consumed my brain since I was a kid. I don't know, but for some reason I'm just like, anytime I'm like in a mood a little bit, I just kind of like go through my little like Rolodex and just like reflect on like what I took from each person, what takeaway, not like actually took, but but like what my takeaways were from each relationship, what I learned, what like my faults were, what my faults like still are, why I stayed or why I was interested when it was clear, probably to the outside, obviously not to me at the time, but that the other person was not putting in the same amount of effort, or they did not believe in me the same amount that I believed in them. Ooh, that almost, okay. Randomly, that sentence kind of got to me. But yeah, I mean, I guess that's kind of the heart of it, if that's what punched me in the gut a little bit. Like, I believe in my partner so fiercely. Maybe sometimes it comes off as pressure or as like too intense because they just don't care as much, or maybe they don't believe in themselves as much. I don't know. But yeah, I see something and then it just makes me sad because I'm like, what? Was I not enough for you? Were you just not interested in me, or were you not enough for yourself, really? And I mean, that's kind of the arrival I've been arriving at, I guess, for lots of these little thought discussions of like, I really don't know if any of these people have like loved themselves enough. And I think that's like my job for myself, like this year, right now, these days. Also, in those dynamics, I did not love myself enough to remove myself from that dynamic in a timely fashion. As soon as I realized the dynamic wasn't equal, I wasn't getting back nearly as much as I was putting in. I didn't have enough self-love to leave. So how can I expect to be with a partner who loves themselves properly and loves themselves enough if I don't love myself enough? And I don't mean like that. I don't mean like, oh my gosh, I just love myself. I just love myself so much, which honestly isn't the worst thing. People who do that don't really weird me out anymore. I mean, unless you're like an asshole to people, don't do that. But like, it's okay to like yourself. Wake up and look in the mirror and think you're pretty. Like the outfit you're wearing. Be cute. Be fun. Yay. But what I really mean on a deeper level is you actually believing in yourself and loving yourself and being like, oh, I have this idea. Yeah, I can do that. I believe in myself to make that happen and to work hard. And, I might not be perfect at it, and I'm going to trial and error some things and, maybe a little bumps, a little bumpy along the way, but like, I'm going to do it. And then if it doesn't end up keeping going, I'll just move on to the next thing. How can I expect to have a partner who loves themselves like that and then is able to love me wholly in return if maybe I'm not capable of being that and doing that? And I think I thought I was. I think I thought I loved myself many more times and many more years and instances than I actually did. I think there was a lot of delusion, delulu, a lot of delulu salulus. But I think there truly were a lot of, delulu salulus for many, many years. Probably without me realizing, just in denial and survival mode, in just like trying to get through each day and like make everything happen. There was a lot of stress for many, many years. In high school, I definitely like just pretended like I existed among people who had a very different life than I did. And I didn't like actively try to force myself to fit in, or like to seem cooler, or to seem like, I had like more money or whatever. But I also like didn't really, want people to like know where I lived. And, I tried to like follow a certain, I think there's just a lot of pressure. And there was lots of pressure that even I didn't know I was living under, placed, like potentially like self-placed pressure, or pressure that came from family or like my mom or whatever, that maybe didn't even seem like a lot of pressure, but like I felt the pressure, like I needed to rise to a certain occasion or be a certain way or do certain things to make everyone happy. And that led into college and New York and just life. And so I think it's like a people-pleasing thing, but on like a, I don't know, like on a more like general level. Yeah, of just being like, oh, like Michaela, like she's done she's doing great. She's done so well for herself. She's so like accomplished or something. I don't know. Yeah. So I think bringing that into a relationship, I feel like I felt like maybe I started becoming like a, I don't know, like a cheerleader, trying to like get points of like, I'm a great girlfriend, and like I've thought of this cute little detail that you mentioned this one time, and I'm going to drop off this little treat, and I'm going to support you through late night, work sessions, and I'm going to drive all the way down to this show, and I'm going to, plan out this whole incredible, like cute detailed date, and I'm, writing like a song for you. And I wasn't doing all of it to be performative. Like a lot of it came from a genuine place, but it was also laced with this, like, I'm doing this and I love you. Yay, do you see how much I'm loving you and like these things that I'm doing? As opposed to just being like, I love you and I hope you have a good day. Okay, bye. I think, yeah, maybe the, what is it called? Unconditional love. Okay, you know what we're gonna do? There we go. Goodness gracious. It's so hard to be comfortable in here. And I just want to wear my little denim skirt and be comfortable. Okay, I wasn't doing all these things to be performative, and they were coming from a genuine place, but there was a little bit of like maybe like a conditional love as opposed to unconditional love. But I also think that love is conditional. If we get married and then you stop caring about some of like the fundamental things that you did care about, like your health, I'm not gonna have like a 6-pack 24/7. I'm a human being, and as will my partner be. But like, I care about staying in shape. I care about taking care of my skin. I care about taking care of myself. I want to feel sexy and attractive to my partner, and I want my partner to feel sexy and attractive to me. Our bodies are going to change. We're going to grow. Of course, we're going to get older. That's fine. But the effort and the care to feel healthy and feel strong is important. And if you give that up and no longer care about like feeling strong and feeling attractive for yourself and your partner, that is a big shift. Like intimacy and attraction, it's going to grow and change, but it's an important factor in a marriage. Hello. So anyway, I think the unconditional love thing is interesting. But with that, it can become too conditional, like the keeping score thing. But where's the fine line? Because if no one's keeping score, I was playing way more. I was on the field playing way more of that game than my other teammate. So yeah, this is what happens when I'm in my feels and thinking about all of these things. I just don't know what I don't know what the answer is. I don't know. And it's like, maybe just you're supposed to find somebody who cares as much as you do. And, how do you do that? I don't know how you do that. And there's, how do I say this? I've met like some great people who I felt maybe effort-wise we would be similar, but other things didn't match up. So I guess what I'm trying to say is like, I don't think that like every guy is horrible or that no guy is capable of giving me what I want and I just have these high standards. No, I think there are lots of great guys in the world. I also think that there are some shitty ones, but I think there are lots of great guys in the world. I think there are plenty who are very incredibly capable and intelligent and able to love and support their partner the way that I do and the amount that I do. I just don't know if I've found my exact counterpart in that. And some guys who have been very, very incredibly sweet, where like the effort was there, there's just other things were missing as far as interests and priorities in life, things like that. So anyway, yeah, just sometimes when I'm a little bit more in my feels, I can't tell if I'm about to, is it my time of month again? I don't remember when so usually around, the week or so of me leading up to my cycle, this is when the broody reflections start. And I think yesterday I was at a dinner with some of my castmates, and, 2 of them have kids, and the other one is, probably going to have one soonish. Not like within this year, but like probably within the next like 3 or 4 years, higher likelihood. And they I don't remember who asked, but it kind of came around to just like, oh, are you seeing anyone, Michaela? And I was like, no, probably not for a bit, and because I'm traveling a lot, and kind of okay with just taking it easy. And I didn't say this out loud, but the working on the just actually loving myself part, so that I can also find somebody who also loves themselves, and then we can love ourselves and then love the other person better. Anyway, but I was like, yeah, I'm probably just traveling a lot and, taking it easy. And, then one of them asked, like, do you want kids? Do you want a family? And I'm like, yeah, absolutely. But I need to find my husband first. And they're like, yeah. And I was like, I could do it without. And they're like, no, like it's so much harder. And I feel like the kids ask so many questions and blah, blah, blah. And I was like, I mean, my mom's a pretty great blueprint. No one's perfect, but like, I watched her do it alone. She did a pretty bang up job. It was pretty intense, but like, she did a pretty bang up job. I am not saying that is what I'm interested in doing. I want to find my husband. I want to have a family and have kids and like continue growing myself and growing with my partner and like loving each other in all of our different phases of life and loving our kids and prioritizing each other and showing our kids a good example of a good partnership and love. That is what I want. That is what I want. So do not be confused by my little side tangent of like, I could do it, alone. That is not what I want. I just, it's an option that's on like the table, but you know what? Maybe I should just take it off the table. Yeah, I think we're just going to remove it from the table. I just need one. Only one person needs to be my husband. Yeah, so it was just kind of interesting in my moment of feels when, those questions came up last night. I all of a sudden just felt like I was doing something wrong, because all of them have been in like long-term relationships with their significant others, wives, fiancés, girlfriends, etc., for a long time. And then it felt like, okay, well, are you seeing anyone? And I'm like the last one in the cast who's like not coupled off, and I'm like, it's very Toph-like of me. I'm just gonna run to the swamps and be with the badger moles. But yeah, it's kind of weird. Everyone's got their person. I don't. Yeah, and I would really, I don't know. I'm not bummed about it though. Like, I don't know where most of you guys are at, but it's a heck of a lot better being, on my own and just kind of reflecting and trying to be my best self every day. Trying to be in something that is not the right fit and just trying to like force that to work every day. You know how stressful that is? Whew. Who has time for that these days? In this economy? No, we don't have time for that. No. No, we do not have time for that. It was just kind of a reflective reminder moment, though, of lots of feelings, of course, of the like, oh gosh, this feels funny. I feel like I'm like the last one standing. But also like, I really think I'm gonna, I don't know. I'm not gonna be perfect, and I have a couple things left that I want to work on before it happens. But I think I'm gonna be a good parent. And like, I want to be a good parent. I want to be a good parent for my kid. Like, there's so many cool things in life that like should be shared with your family. And I'm just so excited to like, to find my husband who's also dope and who wants to show the world to their kid and just love the heck out of their kid when the world, especially these days, just needs more love. And that's one of the things that I'm super grateful about these conventions. And then, the reason for these Hotel Room Yaps. Every one of these weekends feels just so freaking loving. There's so much support. There's so much positivity. There's so much kindness. And I mean, I'm kind of grateful because when I'm in these weekends, it kind of is like a little bubble, and it feels like the rest of the world doesn't exist for a little bit. I think it's definitely, nostalgia, escapism, whatever you want to call it, both. But there's just, world needs more love, and I really want to give that to my kids and to my partner and myself. And you guys, and strangers on the street, and my waitress at the restaurant, and the driver of my Uber, and the pilot of the plane, and the electrician who fixes the lamp and the wiring system, whatever. I don't know. I'm going down a rabbit hole. But I'm really excited to have a family. And there's that little tinge of fear that like I'm not meant for it, or I like messed up too much, or, you know, I'm not deserving, or, you know, that my person isn't out there or something like that. And I think a lot of us feel that way these days, especially in a world of, you know, the damn phones, as our parents told us, which turns out they're kind of right. Guess we should listen to our parents, huh, guys? But, yeah. So I just wanted to yap about that tonight. All right, let's see. Let's put the microphone here and see what the book has to tell us. Yes, we are still on this dang book. Watch this be the same book for the whole year. No, it won't be the whole year, because I'm about halfway through it right now. It's ridiculous. Oh my gosh. Oh, I guess I just kind of dated myself with when this video is being recorded, but oh well. Okay, let's see. Oh my gosh. Okay, can you just chill, Winnie the Pooh? Thank you. Okay, I was taking that out so that it didn't affect my page turning. ASMR pages. Hopefully that was enjoyable. Let's see what the pages give us today. All right. Any pressure you feel around the work, from the inside or outside, is a signal for self-examination. The artist's goal is to keep themselves pure and unattached. In love? Just kidding. I don't know. To avoid letting stress, responsibility, fear, and dependence on a particular outcome distract. And if it does, it's never too late to reset. Well, this, I think, is actually quite helpful. Okay, I'm going to say that again. Any pressure you feel around the work, from the inside or outside, is a signal for self-examination. The artist's goal, and honestly probably a human's goal, the lover's goal too maybe, is to keep themselves pure and unattached, to avoid letting stress, responsibility, fear, and dependence on a particular outcome distract. And if it does, it's never too late to reset. Reset. It's never too late to reset. I don't know why I said it that way. This reminds me of, I can't remember which video previously, if it was one video ago, 2 videos ago, maybe the last video, I don't know, it's recent-ish, but like being, like the root of fear is attached to like perception, or like, what did I say? I was on a roll that night. I came in blazing. What did I say? The root of fear is expectation. Is that what I said? I can't remember. I'll put it right here, but this phrase kind of reminds me of that. And honestly, I mean, probably a lot of love stuff can be tied to a lot of those sentiments as well. Because, you know, obviously heartbreak and disappointment exist, but like if you love yourself and know yourself really well, and then all of a sudden the reality or the truth of like who your partner is shifts, and it no longer actually aligns with your boundaries and like what you need in a partner, you just detach from that and then you move on. You don't try to like all of a sudden change who you are. And I'm not talking about the little things. I'm talking about the fundamental root core essences of your existence. You don't try to force a square into a circle hole, you know, like you just go, oh, this is no longer a fit. Just like, you know, if a partner cheats on you, are you somebody that lets somebody cheat on you? If the answer is no, you have your answer. It doesn't make it easy. It just becomes, you know, you make that decision removing the stress and anxiety and whatever of the outcome, because you know that that's not what you need. And so instead of trying to be like, oh gosh, but I love all these other things, and oh, what will people say, and how difficult is it going to be, and we have an animal, and we have a pet together, and or there's a kid, or we have a mortgage, or whatever, all these things that are like affecting your, like the phrase said, you know, affecting your view of the outcome, your vision of the outcome, or what you think love is supposed to be, or what you thought it was going to be. If you release your expectation of that, I feel like you can become a lot lighter. And then when I think of that, I mean, I become a lot lighter. There's no reason for me to like fluster, because if a person doesn't like align and match with what I need, or with what I'm trying to find, or how I'm trying to love, etc., then they just don't match. There's no tragedy in that. It's just like a little scavenger hunt. And I'm looking for one prize. And so, maybe I find some other people's prizes, but those are theirs, not mine. I don't find it and then try to like repaint it or pretend it's made of something it's not. I don't pick up a ruby and try to make it an emerald. Oh no, it's a ruby. I'm trying to find an emerald, So anyway, that's all for today. Thank you for joining me for another episode of Hotel Room Yap at the lovely Fairmont Hotel here in Dallas. I probably gonna go to bed soon. Gotta wash my face, put on my robe, very excited, and then head to a last day of a convention. Yeehaw, another fan expo. This weekend has been full of eating that has not been my favorite. But I guess that would be on par for being in Texas? I don't know. It's been very heavy. And anyway, it's for another time. Thank you for listening in. Thank you to anyone who I've met in person, who's, enjoyed these or who is enjoying these. Hopefully some of this resonated with you. I think relationships are just one of the trickiest things that so many of us are trying to figure out in this day and age with technology and with divorce rates. I don't know if they're like highest, but they're somewhat high, and people kind of getting married later, and people maybe having children later or not having kids at all. The economy, whatever. I think we're all just trying to figure it out. And yeah, gentlemen, the ladies are out there. I know some gentlemen who are gentlemaning in quite a nice way. But I think some of the other gentlemen could be gentlemaning a little bit better. And I also think some ladies could be ladying a little bit better, I know that there are some in-betweens and mix-ups of that. I mean, for those who maybe identify as a they or, non-binary and that sort of thing. So I'm not trying to isolate into only two structures of what everything should be like. But just if you are a straight gentleman and a straight lady, I think there are some things, if you identify with either of those, that could be improved upon. And I'm trying to work on that too. This is not a pointing fingers thing. Well, I guess maybe it is a little bit, like I'm also pointing at myself. Well, thank you for listening to me yap for a little bit. I'm going to go wash my face and then probably watch the rest of an episode of Emily in Paris, which has kind of become my guilty pleasure hotel Netflix show. Thanks for listening, guys. I will see you guys next time. Bye.